Hi everyone, welcome back. If this kind of content helps you in any way, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It is a small gesture, but it really supports the work and helps this message reach more people who need it. Today, we are going to talk about something very important for your English. Learning English smarter, not harder. Because maybe this is your situation. You have studied for months, maybe for years. You watched classes, you downloaded apps, you followed tips, you tried different methods. You were busy with English. But when you stop and ask yourself, am I really moving towards the English I want? The honest answer is, not as much as I hoped. You feel like you are always half a level behind where you want to be. You can say simple things, but you cannot really express yourself. You understand a lot when you read, but you feel lost when people speak fast. You know rules, but in real life your mind freezes. It feels like you are working hard, but not getting the right results. So you think, maybe I need to push harder. Maybe I am not disciplined enough. But often, the problem is not that you are not trying. The problem is where your effort is going. It is like watering the sidewalk instead of watering the roots. You can work very hard without growing much if your effort is going in the wrong direction. So in this video, we are going to explore how to learn English smarter. How to use your time, your attention, and your energy in a way that actually builds real English, not just the feeling that you are busy. Let us start with a simple idea. There is a difference between learning English as information and learning English as a skill. Information is when you collect facts. You know grammar rules. You memorize lists. You know how things work in theory. Skill is when you can actually use what you know without translating every word in your head. Information lives in your mind. Skill lives in your body, in your mouth, in your ears, in your memory. Many learners spend most of their time with information. They watch teachers explain English. They read explanations. They listen to rules. They repeat in their head, "Ah, I understand." But they spend much less time doing the thing they want to do: speaking, listening deeply, writing, thinking in English. Imagine trying to learn how to swim only by watching videos about swimming. You can know all the techniques. Your theory can be perfect. But the first time you enter the water, your body will not know what to do. Why? Because skills are built by repetition inside the situation. Your muscles, your reflexes, your nervous system need experience. With English, it is the same. If most of your time is outside the water, only thinking about English, watching explanations, reading posts, you can know a lot and still feel paralyzed in real conversations. Learning smarter means asking, how much of my study time is real contact with the language as a skill? Not just watching about English, but living English. Now, there is another point. Not all contact with English has the same impact. You can spend 2 hours with English and learn less than in 20 focused minutes if your mind is half asleep. Think about this. You put an English video. You also pick up your phone. You check another app. You answer a message. You look at the subtitles, but your mind is far away. At the end, you say, I studied English for 2 hours, but in reality, your brain was deeply there for maybe 5 minutes. Learning smarter means fewer hours of distracted contact and more minutes of full attention. Because your brain changes when it is awake, not when it is on autopilot. Now, let us talk about a common pattern. A lot of learners live in what we can call the restart loop. They start a course, an app, a method. In the beginning, they feel excited. They do the exercises, they watch the lessons. After some weeks, life becomes busy. They miss a few days, they feel guilty. Then, instead of continuing from where they stopped, they restart. New notebook, new plan, new app, again and again. Always starting, rarely continuing. It feels like work, but it is mostly the work of restarting, not the work of compounding. Real growth comes from continuation, not from perfect restarts. Learning smarter means less obsession with perfect beginnings, more commitment to imperfect continuation. Even if you missed 3 days, continuing is smarter than restarting everything. Because your brain does not reset to zero because you missed a few days. What really hurts your learning is not a few pauses. It is saying goodbye to every path before it has time to work. There is another problem. Many learners try to study English the way they were taught to study for school exams. Memorize. Repeat for the test. Forget. This style is good for passing a test next week, but it is terrible for building a living language for life. Language is not only something you know, it is something you use and something you live inside. Learning smarter means thinking more like an athlete or a musician and less like a student before an exam. Athletes and musicians practice regularly. They repeat skills. They work on weaknesses. They do not say, "I already did this exercise last year, I will never do it again." They understand that repetition with awareness is how skills grow. With English, smart learning means you return to similar structures, similar words, but each time you go a little deeper, a little faster, a little more confidently. Now let us talk about a very important idea. Input and output. Input is what enters you. Listening. Reading. Output is what leaves you. Speaking. Writing. Many learners have unbalanced lives in English. Some people only do input. They watch series, videos, lessons. They read posts, maybe books. They understand a lot, but they almost never speak or write. So they become strong receivers of English, but weak producers. Other people try to do only output. They force themselves to speak, but they do not listen or read enough. So they feel they have nothing to say. Their vocabulary is limited. Their grammar feels shaky. They feel lost. Smart learning is a dance between input and output. Enough input to give you material, and enough output to transform that material into skill. Listening and reading feed your system. Speaking and writing train your system to use what it received. Now maybe you are thinking, okay, I understand the ideas, but what does learning smarter look like in a normal day? We will get there. But before, there is one more trap we need to talk about. Perfection. A lot of people try to learn English in a way that protects their ego. They want to be good before they practice. They want to feel confident before they speak. They want to make zero mistakes. So they wait. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel less shy. They wait until they can speak correctly. This is learning harder, not smarter, because you are trying to skip the only phase that can actually make you good. The messy, awkward, imperfect phase. Smart learning accepts that mistakes are not optional. They are part of the process. You do not aim for ugly forever. You aim for ugly first, better later. You allow yourself to be bad before you can be good. There is no other road. Now let us make this more practical. Imagine you want to learn English smarter, not harder, in the next months. What could that actually look like? Let us build a simple plan together. We will not design a perfect system. We will design a realistic one, something a real person with a real life can do. Let us call this part, Learn English Smarter, a simple daily plan. First, you choose a minimum time that is possible for your life. Not your dream time, your real time. Maybe it is 20 minutes, maybe 30, maybe 15. Choose a number that does not scare you, because consistency is more important than a big number you cannot keep. Now we divide this time into 3 parts. Part 1. Focused input. This is where you feed your English. You choose something a little challenging but not impossible. A short video, a short podcast, a short text. You listen or read with full attention. No social media, no multitasking. If you have 20 minutes, you can use 10 minutes for this. In those 10 minutes, you can listen to a short audio 2 or 3 times, or read a page of a text slowly. The goal is not to finish a lot. The goal is to really notice. New words, useful phrases, structures. Part 2. Active work with the input. Now you take what you just saw or heard and you play with it. If you listened, you can pause and repeat sentences out loud. You can shadow speaking at the same time as the audio. If you read, you can read some sentences out loud. You can try to say the meaning with your own words. You can write down a few phrases you actually like. If you have 20 minutes total, you can use 5 minutes for this part. Part 3. Small output. This is where you transform what you received into your own language. You can choose one of these actions. Speak for 2 to 5 minutes about your day, about what you learned, about the topic of the text. Record yourself on your phone. You do not need to send it to anyone. Or write a short paragraph with the new words or structures you noticed. If you have 20 minutes total, you can use 5 minutes for this, 10 minutes of focused input, 5 minutes of active work, 5 minutes of small output. This may look too simple, but if you really do this, most days for 3 months, your English will feel very different. Because you are not just touching English, you are entering it. Feeding your brain, training your mouth, training your ears. Now what about grammar? Grammar is important, but smart learning does not make grammar the main character every day. You can use grammar as a tool when you need it. For example, while you're doing your input and output, you can notice, I keep getting confused with this tense. I keep repeating this mistake. Then, you can spend a few extra minutes looking at just that point. Not grammar in the air. Grammar connected to a real problem you are having. This way, grammar supports your learning instead of replacing your learning. Another smart habit is recycling. We usually want new things, new videos, new texts, new teachers. But your brain loves repetition. It loves to see the same thing again, from a deeper level. So one smart strategy is this. You choose a small number of materials you like. Maybe one YouTube channel, one podcast, one small book, and you return to them. You listen again, you read again. Each time, you understand more. You notice more. It is like visiting a city several times. The first visit, you only see the big places. Later, you notice the small streets, the details. Smart learning is less consume everything, and more, go deeper with less. Finally, let us talk about your relationship with time. Many people say, I do not have time to learn English. But they imagine that learning only happens when they're sitting with a notebook and a book. Smart learning uses small pockets of time. You are walking. You are cooking. You are on a bus. You can listen to something in English. You are waiting somewhere. You can read a small text. You can think about your day in English in your mind. These micro moments add up. They turn English from an activity into an environment. From something you do sometimes into something you live with every day. So, learning English smarter, not harder, is not about finding a magical method. It is about aligning your effort with how the brain actually learns. Less passive, distracted time. More focused contact. Less obsession with starting again. More persistence with what you already have. Less fear of mistakes. More courage to be imperfect while you grow. Remember, you are not a machine. You do not need 10 hours a day. You need consistent, honest, intelligent contact, done by a real person with a real life. And that person is you. See you in the next video.